Yes, indeed, a marvellous setting for this occasion and a real carnival atmosphere, as you can see from these pictures all around the stadium. It really is the people's final, the friendly final, whatever you care to call it, but it really does bring a smile to the face of football. No question about that, and two very nervous young men there in the tunnel, the two mascots there. David Wiper, the Kilmarnock strip, the 12-year-old son of Robert Wiper, who's the director of Kilmarnock, attends Belmont High School, and Greg Taylor, who won a raffle, a draw, age 10, to be the mascot for Falkirk this afternoon. So they really cannot wait for the big entrance, which will come very shortly indeed. The flags and banners are waving. It really is a party, there's no question about that, but the real business, Billy, will start very shortly, and then we're really talking about football.
Well, that's right, but the atmosphere is really just what you expect in a cup final, and you know, it seems such a friendly atmosphere that you don't always get in cup finals, and it really is nice. And I think the fact that you've got two single teams from vibrant towns are well supported, and did you wonder if there's anyone left in either Kilmarnock or Falkirk today?
Yes, this marvellous image of the streets and the shopping centres empty in these two towns, as they've all made their way here to fill Ibrox to capacity, and that's a very impressive sight. And to see the flags waving at both ends and all the joy in the faces really does restore your faith in the future of the game in this country. It really is an outstanding occasion, and there the formalities about to begin in the players' tunnel. The nerves jangling among these players, no question about that. You see the different kind of expressions, the different kind of approaches the players have for the match. Ray Montgomery there leading out Kilmarnock, surely never again to play in a Scottish Cup final. He's 36 years old now. He's been a real credit to all his clubs in his career, and he's been 9 years with Kilmarnock, and what a moment this is for him. Drago Jelikovic has played in a cup final in Yugoslavia, the goalkeeper. So the fanfare greeting the two teams as they emerge from the tunnel, led by the referee Hugh Dallas. Alec Taunton and the Falkirk Tartan. And just listen to the reception. Well, just imagine the impact of that reception on these players taking the field. Bobby Williamson, the Kilmarnock manager, applauds the fans. 6 months into management, and he's in the Scottish Cup final. There's that resplendent figure of the Falkirk manager, Alec Taunton. First time ever, I reckon, any manager has come out for a cup final in the Highland dress and a kilt, and he's still working hard to wind up his players for the occasion. This is the contrast, the reception for the SFA party of dignitaries. Well, the president on the right there is Jack McGinn. Sam Galbraith there, Scottish Office Minister. That reception, I think, reserved for the Chief Executive of the SFA, Jim Farry. Ronnie Hamilton is the chairman of Kilmarnock, introducing the party to the players. And without question, the part of the occasion the players perhaps dislike most. Sam Galbraith there is the main guest, taking the handshakes. 21 Scots in the starting 22. Drago Jelikovic is the exception, the goalkeeper for Kilmarnock. The officials there, Bobby Tate is the fourth official. John McElhinney is the linesman, or the assistant referee. Hugh Dallas, honoured by handling his second Scottish Cup final in succession. Sandy Roy, a very popular, experienced official, who will be assistant referee also. George Fulston there is the chairman of Falkirk, introducing Alec Taunton. And the mascot there, Greg Taylor. Season ticket holder he is at Falkirk. Jamie McGowan is the captain, going down the line of players. Neil Oliver there, back from 2 leg breaks in his career. Scott Crabb, a horrendous injury also, has been overcome to take his place. And the commanding figure there is young Kevin James, 21 years old, the man who scored in the semi-final against Celtic. And there's just no let-up at all in the carnival atmosphere at Ibrox. Albert Craig there, club captain, not in the starting lineup. The tall figure there of Gordon Brown, who is the director of brands with the sponsors, Tenants. So the red carpets can now be unravelled as the players now break to their supporters at each end of the field. So confirmation coming up now of the two lineups. So first, Kilmarnock, a team which is a mixture of youth and experience. McPherson, Montgomery, Kerr and Lekovic provide experience. Bagan and Burke have only 35 starts in the first team between them. And Gary Holt wears that number 8 jersey, with John Henry fit enough only to have a place in the bench. He'd been struggling a little before the match, and he has been left on the bench with Tom Brown and Ali Mitchell. Now this is how Kilmarnock are likely to line up, with the width provided by Bagan and Burke, Riley and Holt in the engine room, and that very interesting role for Paul Wright just off Jim McIntyre, in a role very difficult to mark. So Paul Wright plays in his first cup final at the age of 29, and he is the top scorer for Kilmarnock. He's had a career which has taken him from Aberdeen to Queen's Park Rangers to Hibs to St Johnstone and to Kilmarnock. And Jim McIntyre celebrates his 25th birthday this afternoon, the man who played for about 9 minutes in the cup final 2 years ago for Airdrie against Celtic, a match in which he picked up a loser's medal. He doesn't want to repeat that experience this afternoon. Falkirk 2, a very impressive mix of youth and experience. Neil Oliver, Andy Gray, McAllister and Crabb provide experience, and the youth provided by Andy Seaton and Kevin James, both members of the Scotland under-21 squad. And the likely formation there, 3 up is the normal formation for Alec Taunton's teams. McAllister and McGrillen with Crabb through the middle, and the 3-man central defence there with Kevin James and Andy Gray, protected by Neil Oliver. Kevin James has become something of a household name in a very short period of time. He scored that towering header against Celtic to equalise in the first semi-final, and since then his career really has caught the attention of so many people north and south of the border. 6 foot 7 inches tall. Paul McGrillen experienced the build-up with Motherwell in 1991 without taking part in the match, and he scored the winner in the replay against Celtic, and then took a very heavy injury which made him a doubt for a wee spell but being fit for this match. But he's there wearing a number 11, following his Portage, his man he admired most in the game, who was Davy Cooper, from whom he learnt so much at Fir Park. And a very great honour given to the referee Hugh Dallas. He is refereeing the Tenant Scottish Cup final for the 2nd year in a row. The 39-year-old company director is doing that for the first time since Brian McGinley 19 years ago. So the formalities have been completed, and the real business begins now. The setting couldn't be better. The playing surface is absolutely immaculate, and a real boon for those who believe in summer football. The 1997 Tenant Scottish Cup final is underway, with Kilmarnock trying to get forward straight away and opening up with Gary Holt playing wide on the right-hand side. I wonder how long that will last. The game, in fact, has kicked off just about a minute and a half early, before 3 o'clock, which reminds you of the 1976 final when Derek Johnson scored for Rangers before 3 o'clock, one of those perennial quiz questions. So an easy little catch there for Craig Nelson in goal, and the ball goes behind harmlessly for the goal kick. Falkirk wearing their new navy blue tops, white shorts and navy blue stockings, back to their traditional garb for the final. Hagan did well in the air. Good first touch there by McGrillen, who was fouled instantly by Gary Holt. And immediately Kevin James goes sprinting forward from the back for Falkirk as Andy Gray comes to take the free kick. So it'll be interesting to see the impact of James in these set pieces. Not surely much too close to Dragan Jelekovic, and it is. A wasted run there for the young Falkirk defender, Kevin James.
It really is a waste of a free kick, especially when you've got the height of Kevin James in that box, and it makes it an easy catch for the goalkeeper, settles him down.
McIntyre's head flick. McGowan's first involvement, the Falkirk captain. This is Gray. McGowan looking for Crabbe. The marker there is Ray Montgomery. Jelekovic was threatened there by the chase made by Scott Crabbe, so he launched the ball into the stand. So Andy Gray at the heart of all these set pieces now for Falkirk. Tottenham and Queen's Park Rangers, a Crystal Palace player, and one England cap to his name. Huge long throw there, aimed for James. The snapshot attempted by McKenzie. But even if Kevin James doesn't get to the ball, he does put defenders under such pressure, Billy.
Yes, and it's an incredible length of a throw there. He does, he's got this uncertainty. Someone that height is always going to cause a problem in the opposing box. And obviously he's going to venture into that area as often as he can.
James with a header. Mark Welly. No one through the middle there for Falkirk. Crabbe had gone to the right. Here's Paul Wright, and that blocked off roll from the Kilmarnock attack. Superb pass, the flank has gone up. It appeared to be somewhat late, and well, from this angle, questionable. It looked to be an excellent pass from Wright. Sandy Wall was the assistant referee, and the pass played by Wright. It did look as though there was cover in the middle of the fence there for Falkirk, which played him onside. McGowan's header. Box control lets him down. McAllister, 34 years old, twisting and turning, testing the Kilmarnock defence. Here's Crabbe, down he goes, the tackle came from Montgomery. Crabbe looks for a penalty, but looks in vain. Scott Crabbe was incensed about that, clearly believed he was fouled from behind, and I wonder, Billy, if he had a case.
Well, it's an interesting move. You know, I don't think there's much in that, really. I don't think there was enough in that to warrant a penalty kick.
Would have been soft, I think. Andy Gray lines up the long throw again as the referee has a word with Scott Crabbe about his vehement protests. James unable to be matched for that high ball. Too far out perhaps for a direct header and goal, but he really is a threat.
Good defending from Kilmarnock though, Jock, here. You know, you see them immediately, they see James onto it, they're out, and they leave McGrillen in there in an offside position, but an obvious threat, isn't he?
Good leap by McIntyre against James there. Strong challenge by McGowan. Bagan was held. It's a free kick to Kilmarnock. Paul Wright has been allowed to move around that Kilmarnock side just off Jim McIntyre and move to the flanks. Very difficult to mark and pick up. Falkirk not going man for man on him. Prepared to defend him with a good positional sense. Pass him on. He's Wright again. playmaker. This is Kerr. Trying to use the pace of Buck. That's a good pass. The early delivery is met solidly there by James. Good defensive work by the young centre-half, but also fine raiding by Kilmarnock.
It's a good ball into an area that's obviously always dangerous to defend, but good defending by Kevin James. But Kilmarnock looked to me as though they've settled that bit better than Falkirk have.
So a set piece here, Bobby Williamson, entitled to be satisfied, I think, with the way his team has started the match. It's good work by Seaton. Wasn't deceived there by the trickery of Bagan. First touch from McAllister was good. Good interception by McGowan. Return pass, asking a lot of the Falkirk captain. Two Englishmen clash there. Ian McGowan was a volleyball international for England in his youth.
Really, I think this is amply provided. He's got it well covered. Nothing's going to happen there. But the interesting thing, Paul Wright's position is a troubling Falkirk already. He's stepping back up. He's stepping back in that midfielder, picking up the balls and really orchestrating the play from there.
Good dummy by Wright, but no one able to take advantage. Strong challenge made by Holt. His strength in midfield could be vital for Kilmarnock. This is Hagan, full of running power. Going too nimble on the left-hand side. This time the pass. Now Holt. He's right again, coming in that deep position. Bagan now, a chance to attack Seaton. This will be a very interesting contest. Calmly away by Oliver. Good movement there from McIntyre. And here Oliver showing his experience. They're not diving into a tackle on McIntyre, which could have resulted in a penalty. Alec Todd's not a happy man though. He's out gesticulating to his players.
Good running off the ball by McIntyre. Gets himself into a good position. Doesn't quite get hold of that ball into the middle. Now a good pass in the middle there could have caused all sorts of problems.
Offside decision there against Scott Crabb. Scott Crabb and Paul Wright were the Scotland under-19 strikers in Chile 10 years ago together. Look to be Scotland players of the future. This is Nelson with a catch. Confident goalkeeping, applauded by the Falkirk fans. James picked out a decent pass there to McKenzie. Good play by Riley. This is Bagan. Breaks for Wright. Oliver has to hurry. Bagan did well. Neil Oliver apologising there to his captain for being caught in possession by Bagan, who looks very lively indeed. Kerr's cross. Met by Oliver. Trav is penalised for turning Montgomery. Well, he's not having the happiest of relationships with the referee, Scott Trav. McAllister. Bray breaks to the back for just about the first time in open play. This is Crabb. Bundled over there by Holt. Holt's strength in that Kilmarnock midfield, important.
Yeah, there wasn't an awful lot in the tussle, but probably the referee's right. A little shove there, but not an awful lot. But competitive area, obviously.
Hooks again. Hanging up for James. Good marking by McGowan. McAllister's cross, it came off McGowan. That'll be a corner kick to Falkirk.
McAllister does well here. He keeps the ball in the air, plays the ball. It's a dangerous area. And you see the problem that Kilmarnock have got clearing the ball. Obviously, Falkirk got that height advantage.
Ball's corner defended there by Wright. Here's Seaton. Crabbe, he's offside. Fine turn and volley, but well saved by Lekovic. No argument this time from Crabbe. I think he knows perfectly well he was caught.
It's not all that much in it, but good. I suppose you've got to compliment Kilmarnock coming out so quickly, but you've also got to compliment Scott Crabbe. He controlled it and hit it well.
Good work there by Hagan and by McGrillen. Well, a battle of contrasting styles here, with Kilmarnock's 4 at the back, 4 across the middle. Jim McIntyre is spearhead, Paul Wright floating in behind him. Falkirk looking to get their wing backs forward, McGowan and Seaton. They found that very difficult so far. Of course, against wingers like Bagan and Buck, that won't be easy, Billy.
No, they're always going to be committed, and those two have certainly started impressively. They're not worried. You might have worried before the game about youngsters having pre-match nerves, but these two don't seem to be upset at all.
An uncompromising clash there between Montgomery and Seaton. And referee Dallas will have words with the Kilmarnock captain. Well, a totally uncompromising player.
Certainly was a bit late with the challenge.
So what in the ear suffices. Importance of the occasion not lost in Ray Montgomery, I'm sure. The ball how to retrieve by the Falkirk substitutes. Paul Mather's there, the reserve goalkeeper. Finds Andy Gray. And once again, James is forward. Down reaches Mackenzie. The studs were shown in the challenge by Mackenzie. Dangerous play indicated by the referee.
Oh yes, certainly dangerous play, but you know, that area, you're always going to compete for the ball in that area.
So Lekovic with the free kick. Raided well against McIntyre. McGowan was quick. McAllister. Now Seaton. McGrillen offered good movement ahead, but he couldn't control the ball. Matched all the way across by McPherson. There's Dylan Kerr. Buck. Careless one inside. Falkirk now trying to calm things down and play some passes here. I find it difficult to take real initiative in the middle of the field, particularly so far in the match. Doing no harm to put some passes together at this stage. Offside against Crabbe, trying to work that last defender, Crabbe. And he's not happy with delay in the pass. That's what he's complaining about. Too with his encouragement for his men. Is given against Andy Gray. Not a happy man, Jim McIntyre. A very difficult player to match in the air in that position. Gray doing a little bit of clambering over his shoulder. Now an opportunity. Kevin McGowan and Paul Wright have a lot of power from set pieces like this. Every Falkirk player back facing the wall, and they'll have to send that wall back a yard or two to satisfy the referee. This is a chance without question. I think we can look for Paul Wright and have a dig here. disappointment for Wright. Difficult, Billy, for Paul Wright. After that very nasty injury he sustained at East End Park, he hasn't really played at all since then. Difficult for him to come back so quickly.
Well, I would have thought so. He looked a bit apprehensive about taking that one, and really was well off target with it. I think that type of opportunity, you've got to try and test the goalkeeper.
Regular Falkirk ploy that from the goal kick to find David Hagan on the left touchline. Gary Holt has been told to mark him there. He's now in possession. This is McIntyre. Good play by Holt. This is a good opportunity for Kilmarnock. Wasted by the cutback. Gary Holt doing some impressive work there on the right hand side for Kilmarnock. Strong challenge by Oliver at the expense of another corner kick. Alec Burke has come across to take this. They're trying, I think, to swing one in the top of Craig Nelson. It's a good ball in, well won by McGowan on the run. Good attacking of the ball, that, Billy, by Kevin McGowan.
It's a good ball into the middle, but really you would really think that someone of Kevin James's stature should be getting that type of thing in. You know, his height's an obvious threat in the opposing box, but really in that area there, he's got to be more assertive and more commanding, I would have thought.
Hold's header collected there by Wright. Got down by James. Free kick quickly taken there by McPherson while Wright was still on the ground. Bagan. O'Reilly. Hard-working player Mark Welly did well there to find Bagan. This is McIntyre. Throws the ball on his left foot. Bagan again. Header collected here by McAllister. McAllister against Kerr. Kerr wins the challenge. Dylan Kerr played for Leeds United in his debut. He played against Chelsea and his direct opponent was Kevin McAllister. Leeds won 1-0 on that occasion. Kerr will be hoping for another success of that kind. Going for distance from the kick out. No attempt to throw this short. Target is McIntyre. The winner is James. McAllister. Good hustling on midfield by Kilmarnock. Riley and Holt working very hard in that area. See that the sun has disappeared, making conditions pretty well ideal for the game. Once again, Gray is penalised and he'll be spoken to for persistent fouling. A very clear message from referee Dallas about use of the arms, I think, principally.
He's getting too close to his opponent and he's really holding on to him, pulling him away from the ball. Really in that area, well away from the goals. You don't need to get as tight as that on your opponent.
Ball won by Hagan. It's well won by James, but once again could do nothing other than concede the corner. Difficult times these for Falkirk, Billy.
Well, you know, the Kilmarnock are really posing more of a threat at the minute than Falkirk, and really it would be difficult for Falkirk if they lost a goal at this stage.
Box corner. Chance for Wright. 1-0 to Kilmarnock. Jubilation in one half of the stadium and in the Kilmarnock dugout. It's been coming for some time, this goal.
Again, it's a beautifully stopped corner. It's right in the heart of there, but, you know, Paul Wright left unattended in an area where he's very good in, but really the first header, you would think that your defenders should be coming and attacking that ball. But, you know, to leave Wright inside that area unattended, you're always taking a risk.
First blood to Kilmarnock. Well, it was thought there might be some goals in this match, but the vital opener has been scored by Kilmarnock, and certainly in keeping with the run of play so far. There could be no argument about that. There's a nervousness about Falkirk for every cross ball. Kilmarnock are cashing in on that. Paul Wright scoring once again, another vital goal.
He's had a big influence on the game so far. He's come back, he's picked up the ball, he's looked confident, he's sprayed a few good passes about, and in that area he's always liable to score.
The variety this time, and that's welcome really. The shorter throw by Gray. Seaton still looking for Kevin James. Didn't get up well for that though. Well, they're using that long high ball to James all the time now, Billy, and you wonder if they could have some variety and cause some problems to Kilmarnock.
Well, I think it was inevitable they would try that, but he's not had the success that you might have anticipated, and I think if you restrict yourself to doing that all the time, you become predictable. And really at the minute, Kilmarnock have coped with it quite comfortably.
So throw to Falkirk. Well, Alec Totten, I think you see all the signs developing in the opening 20 minutes. He was really going gently off his head down there as he saw his team losing the initiative and Kilmarnock taking a grip. That grip has now been translated into the opening goal. Free kick again against Bill Oliver. At the moment, that's about the first time in the match, I think.
Well, I think he realises his team hasn't settled, Jock, and he'll be worried about them losing another goal at this stage, because Kilmarnock really are full of the joys of a cup final at the minute.
McGowan's free kick, nicked by James and Mackenzie. Seaton now with this throw. Marking among the Kilmarnock players is excellent, leaving no one free. Holt's header. Right again, telling Bagan where to run. Then picks out McIntyre. Bagan picks it up now. Great play by Kilmarnock. Calmly defended by Andy Gray. Lucky perhaps it's only a throw. Fine play though, triangular play here by Kilmarnock.
It's again orchestrated by Paul Wright, and really Falkirk are going to have to detail somebody to pick him up, because he's going to cause them all sorts of problems.
So a goal kick it is now to Falkirk. Very interesting actually that there'd been a decision about Paul Wright, Billy, not to man mark him.
Well, I think they're going to regret that, because he's the biggest influence in the game. The two youngsters are doing well. They're keeping nice wide possessions, they're keeping good width about, and they're making themselves available for those passes in behind the defenders.
Well, let's have another look at that goal again. Different angle. Alec Buck's excellent corner kick causing all sorts of trouble. Attacked well by McGowan again, and the snapshot finish there from Wright. And Seaton have been pegged back the wing backs, which means they really have had to play 5 at the back right from the start of the match, which means a huge burden on Mackenzie and Hagan in midfield.
Well, I think one of the central defenders has got no option but to step forward into midfield and to pick up Paul Wright, because that's where the danger is coming from.
Trying desperately to settle and enjoy some possession here. Coming into the match, of course, as underdogs, Perhaps that wasn't quite so obviously presented because of the victory against Celtic in the semi-final. But it is First Division against Premier Division, and so far it's showing. McIntyre. Buck has remained onside. Intelligent play by the youngster. There's Crab. Muscled out of that by Kerr. Wright is offside. Yeah, well, Falkirk have been trying to pass him on as he's moved around. They tried to play zonally and allow the player occupying the zone he moves into to take over, but it's not working out. Mackenzie with a shooting chance. Well struck. A bit of enthusiasm there in the Falkirk supporters. A real attempt on goal by Scott Mackenzie.
It's a shot that's not going to trouble the goalkeeper, but it does possess a good shot. Obviously, against a retreating defence, it's well worth the risk.
Well screened by McIntyre. Scott Crab coming short to offer himself. Nowhere to go there. Bagan takes over. Little and large show here, and large wins. Calm defending by the youngster is much better on the ground than some people expect. Bagan again. McAllister. McGrillen. Movement offered ahead there by Hagan, but he's marked all the way by Gary Holt, who's done a splendid job on Hagan so far whenever Falkirk have had possession. Interesting to see Kilmarnock really have matched the running power of Hagan with the running power of Holt. That's good tactical management.
He's had his... Bobby Williamson's obviously prepared his team well for the cup final. But this is an obvious threat. This is where they've got to be determined not to lose anything.
Gray's long throw. James with a head flick on. Now back to Crab. The block was made by Welly. Counter-attack is on now, led by Buck. Kerr is going sprinting ahead of him. Wants the pass played. This is promising again for Kilmarnock. On the far side is Paul Wright. And Andy Gray got back just in time. Falkirk were exposed again briefly.
It's a tremendous pass, and it's a really good cross into the box, and Gray does so well. He sprinted a long way back. Had he not got to that ball, they were in real difficulty.
Bagan with the in-swinger from the left. It's a good ball in again, met well by Mackenzie, but this is Holt. These two will know each other very well after this final. Holt and Hagan. Kilmarnock have the throw. The pressure remains on Falkirk. Good return pass from Bagan. Fine play by McPherson. Well, Gus McPherson angry, didn't have a runner on the near post. He certainly made the position to expect that kind of target.
He pushes so well into it here, takes the ball very confident. Good ball into the middle as well.
James marks McGowan in the box. Task for James, a very good headed clearance, but Buck is there again. Kilmarnock retaining possession, winning so many of the loose balls now. That's Bagan. If he can reach this before James, which he can't. This appears now to be a crucial phase in the play. The If Kilmarnock could get a second, they surely be very hard to catch. Falkirk digging in hard defensively. Buck holding up McGrillen. Well, Craig Nelson, I think, left that in the end deliberately, was thinking about making a catch. But his angle's right.
It's a good run and it's well worth the shot, isn't it? But the goalkeeper's got it well covered, knows exactly what he was doing there. But nice run, nice confidence about them, and it's refreshing to see a youngster prepared to go and attack defenders.
Well retained there by Hagan for James. It's good play, two youngsters together. It was rather aimless, that ball by James. Didn't really look up before he delivered it. Great play by Buck. Really supporting. This is Holt. A very impressive Kilmarnock performance so far. An interception by Seaton. Well, the interesting thing is that Craig Nelson really hasn't had a real shot to save despite Kilmarnock's dominance. Now Crack. Good understanding with McAllister. Looking for McGrillen. Well, I don't think McGrillen expected that.
No, it was on his heels just a little bit, and the pass perhaps overhit slightly, but he was on his heels just a bit. But no, McAllister's good at this. He's good at picking up the ball and attacking defenders, and he looks for Paul McGrillen, but I think he just took him by surprise.
Powerful challenge by Hagan in midfield. Perfectly fair one. That wasn't so fair though. A barge into the back of Bagan by Seaton. Now Bagan made his debut not long ago at all in December for Kilmarnock. So did Alec Buck. What a bonus they have been for Bobby Williamson. Now James and Wright exchanging some angry words there. James thought that Wright dived. Again, the loose ball collected by a man in blue and white stripes. Good play by Oliver, much better. Going forward to Mark. Wright. Well, that was a back player, a defender, stepping forward at Paul Wright, with a big difference.
There's no option but to do that. You know, they can't afford to give Wright all the room in the world as they've been giving up to now.
Space though, found on the left by Buck. Good support from Kerr. Gray's recovery tackle, diving in there. It steamed up the experienced Englishman.
Well, he was actually looking for a foul here, and I think he was entitled to get one, but he made up for it. Good recovery and a good tackle.
Then swing it again. Craig Nelson bolted his way out there. He did well, did his fist to that. Another good ball in, McIntyre is up. Turned away by James. Kevin McGowan driving it across the face of goal. Falkirk are reeling.
It's another good chance, and really Falkirk are having a lot of difficulty coping with these crosses, and you know, James does well there, doesn't take any chances, gets it behind the goal, but they've had difficulty defending those balls into the middle.
Watch two of the difficulties presented for Craig Nelson on the line. He doesn't have any chance really to come out in that 6-yard box. There he goes again, go back of the hand to the ball. Two attempts on goal, one by Holt, one by Kerr. The result is another corner kick. Very difficult cross balls for the keeper.
That was it. I think he should have done a bit better than he did there, but they're having difficulty, no doubt with that.
Here's Paul Wright again. Didn't fall kindly for him that time. Kenzie's headed out, time over Riley. Right again. Better play from defence by Falkirk. Graham now has McAllister on the right. Hagen goes sprinting past him. This is Hagen. Good delivery, McGrillen! Superb play by Falkirk. Here on the semi-final replay, McGrillen holds his head. It was magnificent play by Hagen.
It was a great ball into the middle by Hagen, but you know, I think Paul McGrillen really should be hitting the target from there. He was disappointed at that, but that was a real goal chance. But look at the quality of the ball into the middle. Eliminates all the defenders. Goalkeeper's got no chance. Really should be hitting the target from there.
Well, let's see if that has the effect of lifting Falkirk. Good play all the way from the back, that was. That would give him some encouragement, surely. McAllister diving into that tackle, getting a little bit heated. McAllister put a key role on that move also, linking with Hagen. Still possession with Kilmarnock. McAllister again unable to get forward on that far side for Falkirk, so Kilmarnock again have a chance to build through the middle of the field. Here's Paul Wright again. Ball's too long in the air, surely, for Hagen. Got kindly off the head of Seaton. Kilmarnock leading by a goal to nil. The goal delivered by Paul Wright in 21 minutes. Crab backing in, penalised by the referee. Finding this first half very difficult to watch. Seaton standing up well, the challenge of Holt. For Red Star Belgrade against Partizan Belgrade, the Yugoslavian Cup final, finished on the losing side. This is McIntyre against Oliver. Oliver did well, and the referee's right. That was a free kick to Falkirk. McIntyre just easing himself into Neil Oliver as he tried to head that clear.
I'm not convinced at all, to be quite frank with you. It looked to me as though it might have been another way job. But let's give it to the referee.
Well, we'll agree to differ. That was right. There's James. Difficult pass to deliver that. The gap is closing rapidly. McAllister showing us well. They're coming off Kerr. Blind alley really there, Kevin McAllister. His usual enthusiasm though.
I think that's important just now for Falkirk, Jock. You know, they've got to have that enthusiasm. They've been, to me, they look sort of muted. You know, should get off to like that. They'll inspire a little bit.
Push that time by James. So 5 minutes remaining in the first half. And I wonder how Todd feels down there, whether he'll be quite content to go in just one down and try and reorganise, or is he still looking for some miracle before half-time?
Well, I think he'll be hoping for a miracle before half-time, but I think he knows he's got a lot of work to do in the dressing room at half-time. He's got to lift his team. They've come here and they look as though they've frozen a little bit.
goal kick is given. McIntyre and James in a tough challenge there.
I think the referee was probably right there. I don't think there's an awful lot in it. Just a little bit of handbags, really.
Foul by McGowan. Heavily into the back of Crabb. The arm was up that time. Seems like a bang in the side of the head there, Crabb.
He's not had a lot of service, really, has he? You know, I think that's down to the fact that Kilmarnock have really controlled the midfield and they've been nice and sharp into that midfield area. But they're clearly a foul, there's no doubt whatsoever about that.
Well, Scott Crabb, remarkably, is still to open his account for the season for Falkirk. Leads the line very well, links play up very well indeed. Well, this surely was the best chance of the first half for either side, perhaps. Delivered here superbly by David Hagan, straight to the head of Paul McGrillen, and he really had to hit the target with that.
Golden opportunity, wasn't it, really?
What a difference it might have made to the whole run of the game too. Kilmarnock have been dominated so much, might have found themselves all square suddenly and wonder how it happened. Reaches Hagan. There's Oliver. Graham looks to surge forward like this, appear to be caught. The advantage wasn't given. Well, in fairness to the referee, it wasn't instantly obvious there was an advantage. Certainly was a foul on Gray.
He's got quite dynamic pace at times and he just bursts forward. But really the referee could probably have done him a favour there, let the play go on.
McAllister flights it in. James attacks the ball. But he's never had a free run, he's never had a free header. Kevin McGowan takes a lot of credit for that.
It's a good quality ball into the area there, but really I don't think he attacks it powerful enough and really doesn't get enough on the ball. Goalkeeper deals with it comfortably, but you know, that height is incredible threat in there.
Foul to Falkirk. An elbow was used. The referee Dallas's patience has exhausted. So the Motherwell referee has words with the former Motherwell player.
That's a hand up really more than anything else, but definitely he catches the Falkirk player, doesn't he?
Scott McKenzie's reaction there has also caught the attention of the referees with a word with him in the passing. Certainly no malice, there was no flying elbow, there was an upraised arm. Gray again looking for James. Was he bumped by McGowan? No, says the referee. That's McKenzie again, working himself into a shooting position. But there are just suddenly signs, Billy, that Falkirk are beginning to believe again.
Well, they've certainly got a bit more out of the game this last 10 minutes than they've had before. And Mackenzie's a threat from these positions, and he has worked hard in the game, but been outnumbered in that midfield. But gets himself into a good position, and he's prepared to take a shot. There's always a chance that one will come off. Ray up against McIntyre. Misunderstanding at the back. James takes charge eventually. Discussion there with Jamie McGowan as captain. Well, you have the feeling there's a lot more to happen in this final. Certainly all seem to be running Kilmarnock's way in the opening half hour, but Falkirk are digging in now. And we have had some signs in the last 10 minutes or so that Falkirk believe they have a chance of turning around this 10th Scottish Cup final, but the only goal of the opening half was scored by Paul Wright. Typical opportunist effort in 21 minutes, and at that stage, Billy, no more than Kilmarnock deserve. No, I think Kilmarnock have come in at half-time justifiably in front, they'll be disappointed they might not have they hadn't extended that lead, but Falkirk certainly showed and gave an indication and had signs that they were coming back and started to believe in themselves again. And I think obviously Alec Trott will have to work very hard at half-time, get his pass, and I think he'll alter the setup, and he'll be looking for somebody to accommodate the space that Paul Wright's been given.
So Kilmarnock dominating for a long spell, but could have been caught out with the best chance of the first half, which fell to Paul McGrillen. But there's the story at half-time at Ibrox, the Tennent Scottish Cup final. It's Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 0.
And a very entertaining first 45 minutes. I certainly thought plenty of incident anyway, just the one goal by Paul Wright. Eamon, what did you think?
Well, Falkirk haven't started well, have they? I mean, they've really struggled to cope with Paul Wright, who's playing in a kind of off the front role, and you felt that they really had to adjust to that. I think it's crying out for Falkirk to go to a back four, but unfortunately they've not really got the personnel to do that. And I suspect at half-time that they will change.
No one's picking up Paul Wright, and that's causing the problems, isn't it?
They're not going into midfield with him because the three centre-halves are not really comfortable going in there. And Kilmarnock have won the tactical battle without any shadow of a doubt. Falkirk perhaps frozen a little bit. They've not really came into the game until the last 15-20 minutes when Paul McGrillen had a great chance, but Kilmarnock are worth their win at the moment.
Yeah. Are you impressed with Kilmarnock, Ali?
Yeah, I think they've definitely shaded the first half. I think they've played it very, very well. Bobby's tactics have been outstanding, playing Bagan and Burton wide positions, McIntyre through the middle, Paul Wright in that holding role. Doesn't, as Eamon said, none of the centre-backs want to get in there into unknown territory. They've looked at the best side in the first half. I've been impressed with Burton, who I thought started very well, had some great quality and wonderful quality from his corners.
Yeah, there is a lot of trouble coming down the wings, not just from Bagan and Burton. Gus McPherson and Dylan Kerr are both getting down as well, aren't they?
I think particularly down, Falkirk's left-hand side, that young Andy Seaton's not having the best of games, which is a bit unfortunate for him. That could be possibly one of the changes. He could come off, and they could put Jamie McGowan to left-back and put Neil Oliver, who's naturally right-footed and plays it right-back. They could go to a natural back four that way.
Yeah.
I suspect that might happen just looking at the personnel that they've got. But yeah, I mean, Kilmarnock have had a lot of corner kicks. They've obviously scored a goal off one of them, but they've had a lot of threat from the wing positions.
All right, let's take a look at the goal then, which has broken the deadlock in this Tennent Scottish Cup final. Came just about halfway through the first half, in fact. Let's talk through this one, Ali, with again the cross coming in and the problems in that 6-yard box.
Yeah, it's a great ball. He whips a lovely ball in. A great nod on. I don't know who gets the nod on. It could have been McGowan. I think McGowan gets the nod on.
I think it was McGowan,
great touch. And Paul Wright, good East Club boy that is there, turns it over the line. Magic finish from a good striker. And you can see the relief from wee Bobby there.
But in some ways, as we were saying, it typified where Falkirk have been having their problems with those cross balls.
And it's an old ploy. I mean, a player coming off the back post, really into that space. Ali's done that 100 times before, and it's amazing number of times the ball does fall into that little hole there. And Andy Gray, really, he's picking him up, but he leaves him. You see Andy Gray in the middle of the bat, and there's Paul Wright, sticks it in the back of the net.
It's a very difficult ball to defend against, because it's whipped in with pace, and you just need the slightest of touches on it. And Paul's done exceptionally well. He's found, all he needs half a yard in there, and he's found his half yard and he's stuck it away perfectly.
Right, turned and found the corner. Yep. The biggest chance, of course, perhaps, even including the goal, certainly fell to Falkirk late on with that Paul McGrillen miss. And you have to say it, just a rank bad header from a terrific cross, Eamon.
I mean, it's a fantastic cross for David Hagan. I mean, it's perfect. And here's Paul McGrillen coming in. The goal's gaping. I think he was obviously aiming for the back post there and has just miscued it a little bit. Very, very disappointed.
Yeah. The idea, I suppose, is good. He's trying to head it back across the keeper, isn't he?
Yeah,
he just gets too much on it.
He just gets too much on it. But that actually didn't show you how good the move was, because the move actually came from the Falkirk penalty box. They played some great stuff out their own box. McAllister got the ball, played it wide to Hagan, who's sending a wonderful cross, best cross of the match. And of course McGrillen just got too much on it. You see what he tried to do, tried to direct it back to the far stick, but got too much on it.
Yeah, Hagan and McKenzie are working hard in midfield for Falkirk, but they're not quite getting enough of the ball to cause problems for Kilmarnock, are they?
Well, I said before the game, I think it was, you're taking a chance playing David Hagan in midfield. He's not a natural midfield player. He far prefers to play wide right or wide left or even centre forward. And it's backfired a little bit. I would personally like to see Kevin McAllister play a far wider right role. He's getting frustrated because he's not getting any of the ball. He's coming into the midfield and he's really getting clogged up. I thought before the game, McAllister against Dylan Kerr was a big part of it, and it's not really happened at all. So perhaps he'll change that a little bit as well.
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit about Falkirk's problems, but let's not forget that Kilmarnock have dominated, Ali, and Bagan and Burt definitely look the part, don't they? And it's the old story, isn't it? When you've got good wingers that can get to the byline and get crosses.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant to watch. I said before the game, they're two of the most exciting prospects in Scotland, and they proved that today. They're very entertaining. They're great to watch. They'll be Kilmarnock favourites. There's no doubt about that. They get the ball at their feet like the old Tanner ball player. They run directly at you. It's the worst thing in the world for a defender. If somebody's got the ball, runs straight for you, he commits you, and these guys are exceptional at it. And once they get by, they're not frightened to have a shot at goal, as we saw with Burt there, but also put some great quality in.
Yeah. Scott Crabb had a penalty claim. I'm not sure just how convincing it was, Eamon, but obviously he's got to look for it, hasn't he?
I didn't think it was a penalty, to be honest with you. And he had a lot of frustration about it. He was arguing away there with the referee, and the referee ended up having a word with him. We were a long way away from it, certainly. Ali thinks it was a Stonewall penalty.
Typical striker's opinion, isn't it? But yeah, that wasn't though, was it?
No, I have to say, when I saw it, first of all, thought it might have been a case, but seeing it second time there, no, good decision by the referee.
Right. So half-time, the problem's really on the Falkirk dressing room, aren't they, Eamon? Because I would imagine Bobby was fairly happy, looking for more of the same.
I think so. I think Alec will possibly dwell on the positive side. They're not out of the game by any means. They've only lost one goal, and they've shown that they can, create chances at their end. A little bit of reorganisation, I think. Perhaps, calm the players down. A little bit more belief in them. They've now experienced 45 minutes of it. They've frozen a little bit. Come out the second half and try and be positive.
Right. Here's a good example actually of Andy Gray's great experience and good fitness too, because he gets back awfully well here, Ali, to clear the danger after a great Kilmarnock breaking cross.
It really was. You see Burt breaking down the left here, and as he's done all day, especially in the first half, gets the ball to Kerr. And I think he whips a great ball in here. This is great defending. It really is, because that could go anywhere. He gets enough on it because he's up in the attack. Paul Wright's at the back stick, very dangerous position, and he gets a great challenge here to knock the ball for a corner. That's good defending.
Yeah, great fitness too, because it's a long way back in.
It is a long way.
Yeah, it's a very important interception at the end. That's definitely have a problem. Andy Gray doesn't know whether to play behind these two or in front of these two. Again, one of the things they've got to sort out. We are dwelling, I suppose, on the problems that Falkirk are experiencing, but they'll have to sort it out really at half time and do something about Paul Wright. Bobby took perhaps a little chance on Paul Wright with his fitness. He's probably never even trained for a fortnight, but it's paid off because he's stuck the ball in the back of the net. So they will have to deal with that problem.
I think from Bobby's point of view, he's got to be delighted with the first half. It's probably the script's been written for him, and he couldn't have written it any better. The way things went, as I say, Paul Wright's posed him a lot of problems. Defensively looked very sound. Goalkeepers had one or two good saves, but nothing much has troubled them. I think from Kilmarnock's point of view, they've got to be very happy with the first half.
Good, okay, well, first half definitely goes to Kilmarnock. 1-0 half-time, Paul Wright's goal. And we'll just take a swift break from all the excitement, and there is excitement without doubt here at Ibrox in this Tennant Scottish Cup final. And catch up with the big race of the day at Haydock, in fact, this afternoon. That was at 3 o'clock, the Tote Silver Bowl handicap, over a mile.
And they're running in this Tote Credit Silver Bowl handicap, and nobody clearly very anxious to make it. That's Alizal over on the far side. On the near side to us is Out of Sight, and between horses is Amias. Then comes Caviar Royale and Sky Commander on the fence, and then Future Perfect. So it's Alizal from Out of Sight, Amias on the outside, Sky Commander next on the inner, on the outside of Sky Commander in the diamond colours, the chestnut, Caviar Royale and Future Perfect, the back marker of the sextet in this Tote Credit Silver Bowl handicap. It's still Alizal is the leader from Out of Sight, and then Amias, then Sky Commander on the inside and Caviar Royale. Well into the straight now and racing down towards the 3 furlong marker, and it's Alizal the leader from Out of Sight, Amias towards the left, Sky Commander running up the inside, the far side that is, Future Perfect making a little bit of ground, Caviar Royale as well, but it's Alizal the leader, as the challenger now is Caviar Royale running on this softish ground for the first time in his life. Alizal the leader from Out of Sight and Caviar Royale as they run down towards the furlong pole, and it's all Alizal at the moment. Alizal is about 2.5 clear now of Caviar Royale as they race into the closing stages. Alizal's rider, Seb Sanders, looks over his shoulder, sees no danger, coming up the line. Alizal wins it. It's very close for second with Future Perfect just getting up probably.
That's how the 3 o'clock was won at Haydock this afternoon, just as we were kicking off here at Ibrox. Al-Azal winning at 5-2, Future Perfect second at 5-1, Caviar Royale third at 20-1. And let's just round off the racing for you by giving you the 2:30 SP as well. It was won by Tomba at 4-1, Manhowa second, the 13-8 favourite. Connemara was third at 14-1. And that takes care of the racing. We're back here at Ibrox, Tennent Scottish Cup final. Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 0 at half time. And a different angle on the goal which is separating these two clubs at this stage. Let's take a look again at that Paul Wright 21st minute goal. Came from the corner, the flick on by Kevin McGowan. Here's how it looked. This is a different angle on the goal which is breaking the deadlock just at the moment. Here it is. Doesn't tell us anything perhaps we didn't see from the other angle, Eamon, but you can see it. Well, perhaps it actually comes off the defender rather than Kevin McGowan, doesn't it?
Scott McKenzie, in actual fact, I think, headers it rather than the Kilmarnock. But the quality of the ball in has really made it difficult to defend against, and it's whether it's a Kilmarnock player that flicks it on or a Falkirk player, it's a good ball in, and that was the difference. Interesting angle, yeah. Yeah,
it was actually. It did seem to be the defender, wasn't it, that got the touch.
I think it was, but as Eamon said, if you get a good ball in with a lot of pace and somebody challenging for it, the ball will drop in the box. Yeah. And Paul Wright did tremendously well coming off the post, getting his half yard.
Well, we're seeing the same thing with those long throws of Andy Gray, so it doesn't actually matter if it's an attacker or a defender that gets a touch. It's going to cause problems either way, really, isn't it?
Of course, you're just looking for a reaction in the box and something to happen, and somebody to react. With those long throw-ins, he's thrown them from about 30 yards out in the penalty spot. I've never seen anything like it. And people are challenging for it. Like big lad James is winning his fair share, and just want maybe Scott Crabbe or McGrillen to get round about him and maybe an end or something.
Yeah, it really is. It's a terrific attacking tactic, those Andy Gray throws, Eamon, isn't it?
I think the problem that Falkirk haven't really had any near the corner flag. That's when they're really dangerous. When you're 10 to the yards out to the corner flag, and it's the angle that it comes in at. He's really been throwing them from sort of 30 yards out, and not as effective. Perhaps this half.
Yeah, because it's a long flat throw, isn't it? It's not arcing in. It's actually a long flat throw.
I've personally never seen anyone, throw a ball so far. I mean, at Brockville itself, he used to throw it right to the back post, and as you say, flat. Which is particularly difficult to defend.
I'd imagine in Brockville he'd have to cut back these throw-ins. He'd be launching them right across the park.
A half throw.
So again, let's stress the fact that it's down the wings that the problems are coming, perhaps. Tactically, I mean, Falkirk have got to try and cut out the supply, I suppose, haven't they? That's where the initial problem is.
I think the full-backs have got to close them down quicker. I don't see Alec Taunton changing it right away. I think he'll have a chat with the boys at half-time, 5 or 10 minutes. See how the second half starts. But his full-backs have definitely got to shut down. And as you rightly said, McPherson and Dylan Kerr are getting forward as well in full-back positions, and they're posing them problems. So from a Falkirk point of view, they've got to shut the wingers down and the full-backs down. From Kilmarnock's point of view, they've just got to try and keep it going. Yeah,
and if Kilmarnock do happen to get a second goal, Eamon, is the game over?
Well, it probably would be, yeah.
But McCoist is nodding, yeah.
No doubt about it.
I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think Alec will change it. He'll either push one of the central defenders into midfield, or he'll change to a back four.
All right, well, certainly the problems are all Falkirk's. 1-0 to Kilmarnock. They've certainly dominated the first 45 minutes. Let's enjoy the second half live here at Ibrox. Let's rejoin Billy and Jock.
Thank you, Dougie. Yes, indeed, some welcome respite, I think, for the fans all around the stadium during the interval here. They've given so much energy to the whole occasion, Billy. It really has been an amazing atmosphere, but I think that break is welcome.
Well, you'd think so, but it certainly has worked out a lovely occasion, because it really is a very, very mixed crowd that we've got here. There's lots of families here, and it's really been, the atmosphere's been terrific.
No substitutes in the Kilmarnock lineup. And for Falkirk, it's exactly the same starting 11 also. But I do suspect there may well be some tactical alterations. I wonder too, Bobby Williamson might consider something too anticipating what Alec Todd might do. They of course know each other so very well. The irony of course is that Alec Todd was sacked by Kilmarnock in December, having signed men like Paul Wright for the club.
Been a good signing for them, hasn't he?
Terrific signing, as he was for Alec Todd and St Johnstone also. So that settles again for the start of the second half of this Tennent's Scottish Cup final. These opening 10 minutes may well be crucial. The referee Hugh Dallas has now checked both watches, checked with the assistant referees. And Falkirk get us away for the second half. The long ball again in for Hagan on the left-hand side. Good play again by Hagan, and that cross he delivered in the first half was from his weaker foot, the right, a natural left-sided player. That made it even better in terms of quality, I would suggest. So the big throw opportunity for Andy Gray, and as was being suggested at half-time, a little bit nearer the penalty box this time. Long and flat towards James, but again the challenge went in from Kevin McGowan. Coped very well indeed. A substantial height disadvantage. Gray lines up again. Breaks there for McKenzie and to McAllister. Comes off McPherson for the corner. Fast start here by Falkirk.
Kent McAllister does well here because he turns inside the ball, almost gets a shot away, but it's been a good start by Falkirk.
Rollins near post ball, met easily there by McPherson. Andy Gray comes across again. Well, he certainly is getting plenty of work to do. Immensely strong and powerful. James gets a touch on this time. Here's McGrillen. Turning it back, I think, trying to get that across the face of goal for Scott Crabb. McGrillen couldn't hook it back enough.
Andy Gray really gets incredible distance in those throw-ins. James gets a good touch on, but really you would anticipate one or two Falkirk players attacking that second ball.
Certainly early encouragement here for the Falkirk supporters. Crabb against Kerr. Throw to Falkirk. Didn't wait for Gray this time. Second ball arrives on the field. It was offered there from the bench for the throw. Referee Dallas expressing his concern about the arrival of that replacement ball. Bobby Williamson looks on, waiting to see how the match settles for the second half. But it's a very impressive opening from Falkirk. McGrillen again to the far post, a bit of bumping and barging inside the area. The result is a free kick to Kilmarnock. I think it was Scott Crabb who was penalised. Well, he's trying so hard, Crabb, to make an impact in the proceedings.
It takes impetus out of the attack. They're giving away a foul in that area. You know, it's a ball into it, and at the end of the day the goalkeeper comes and takes it comfortably, but you really want to keep the play alive as much as you can when you've got a wee bit of ascendancy.
Bobby Williamson below us is gesticulating, the Kilmarnock supporters asking for some vocal support. They have gone quiet remarkably. Followed by James. Williamson trying to whip up the Kilmarnock supporters. Great ball there by Wright towards McIntyre. Turned away by James. Kilmarnock have the corner. It will be interesting to see if Falkirk deploy a man on both posts. That's one of the problems they had when the goal was scored. Only the near post was manned. And that's what's happening again. Only Crabb with the near post. No one on the far post. Brave header there inside the area from McIntyre. Gray breaks very intelligently here to start a Falkirk attack. Good work by Holt, former Celtic and Stoke City player. Terrific throw again by Gray, but Montgomery was in the right place. Andy Gray again. Being told by Alec Totten to go forward for the throw, and Kevin James is urged to get into that box once again. Falkirk make one of these pay. Going first to the ball. This is Mackenzie again. Blocked by Holt. McIntyre to right. That's for the running figure here of Burke. Burke against McGowan. Disappointing ball that towards Paul Wright. The momentum of the attack has been lost. Strong play by Oliver. McMillan's determination pays off. This is McAllister. That's very good reading of the play by Burke. Foul against McAllister. Not at all happy with that decision.
The referee was right though, wasn't he? Just a little bit of frustration with Kevin McAllister. Good defending by young Burke.
McGowan now to McAllister. The ball's just in play. Bad tackle. Kevin McGowan penalised. Beaten by the speed and skill there of McAllister. Here's McGowan. Crabbe shows himself. Tries to set up Mackenzie. Noise coming from Falkirk supporters at the moment. They sense the possibility of an equaliser. So does Bobby Williamson. Launched again by Gray. Little nudge there by Kevin James. Protests his innocence. He's sending it.
He's trying to attack the ball. He's done very well so far.
Back and match the run. Every cross ball, every ball.
They never really look comfortable with these balls. To be fair, there's some good balls coming from the side.
This time again. So, goal kick it is to Falkirk. Getting against, there it was something after St Johnston, then to Kilmarnock. Williamson concerned, I think, that his supporters have gone a little bit flat. McGrillen. Grab to Hagan. McAllister drifts inside again. McGowan's on the outside. Given away there by Jamie McGowan. Well, he likes to get forward in that position. It was he who set up the goals, which beat Celtic.
Got himself well, got himself into a good wide position, but really doesn't do anything at all with the delivery.
Mackenzie against Riley. It's been an individual contest all afternoon. McGowan towards Crabbe. Combination of McGowan and Montgomery sorts that out for Kilmarnock. Falkirk contemplating a change. James with a header. Here's Crabbe. Showed too much of that to Kevin McGowan. Burke. Now Holt. Sharp challenge there by Seaton on Bagan. An equally sharp challenge by McPherson. for movement. Tries to pick out Scott Crabb. Dylan Kerr's in the way. Gray to McGowan. McGowan again. This is Crabb. It's got play for McAllister. Montgomery comes across. Escorted behind there by Mark Riley. McAllister trying all he knows at the age of 34 to crown his career with a memorable cup victory.
He's certainly playing a more positive role in the second half. He's stayed on this right-hand side. He's prepared to pick up the ball and go and attack defenders. In the first half, I felt he ventured too much into middle and got lost.
Well, there's no obvious change in the tactical formation there, Billy. It's been really very much as before for both sides, although perhaps a little bit more tight marking to right.
I think what Alec Taunton has done is obviously made him seem that bit more positive, but he's certainly put McAllister wider on the right with McGrillen doing likewise on the left-hand side, and he's creating that bit of space and that opportunity to get passes made more quickly.
Ray again with a throw. White backing into McGowan, who handled that very well indeed. Oliver's tackle. Certainly being occupied though by Jim McIntyre up front, Oliver. McAllister to McKenzie. Neat defensive header there by Montgomery against Crabb. McAllister's back heel, that's Jamie McGowan. Now Seaton. A second chance here to create. He's given that straight to McPherson. But still, Falkirk are pinning Kilmarnock back. But clearly a matter of some concern to the Kilmarnock manager, Bobby Williamson. Hagan trying to get the ball on the carpet, but finding it very difficult. Crowded out very quickly. It breaks from McAllister. Here's McGowan. Good running there by Gray. Well, that's a good ball across. McGowan couldn't get there. He was attacked so effectively there by McPherson for the challenge. Paul McGowan not big enough to win this.
It's a great turn by Gray. He really turns, gets a magnificent ball in, and good defending by McPherson because he gets back there and makes sure that McGrillen doesn't get a chance to capitalise on that. But the turn is terrific. He really doesn't have the... He shouldn't have had the space to get the ball in, but he does, but good defending there.
James going for the ball over the top of McIntyre, but no infringement there. The referee indicating that McIntyre made a back for the centre half. This is Hagan. Gray. Oliver. Good running by McKenzie. Much better play from Falkirk. Kilmarnock, who were so busy in the first half getting about people, are not doing that to the same extent now. Late tackle by Kerr on McAllister, and he's going to be booked for that. First yellow card of the match. There are a number of warnings administered by referee Dallas, but Dylan Kerr gets the yellow card. A late snapping challenge on McAllister. Card number 1 in the match for Dylan Kerr. The referee checks the position for the free kick. It was right on the touchline, in fairness. Flight there. Back defender. That's McKenzie. Gray. to the point of concern. Forwards tackling, we could say, Billy.
Well, I don't think any complaints about being booked because he's so late. But he is a forward, and we tend to make excuses, but it's not a nasty challenge. But, you know, Falkirk have increased the tempo of their game, and really at this stage, you know, Kilmarnock look that bit uncomfortable.
Gray's free kick. It reaches James. Here's Hagan. Shoulder charge there with Holt. Seaton's cross is a good one. James is there. Well, a second ball not being attacked by Falkirk players. He's onside. He was in his own half. McIntyre chased here by Gray. It's a wonderful tackle by Andy Gray. Magnificent defending. No question of offside. He was inside his own half, although he was ahead of the whole Falkirk team.
But it's the pace, you know, it's the pace of Gray getting back here. McIntyre does everything right. He cuts across his path, but he still gets the challenge and magnificent defending. What pace he's got when he uses it.
Well, if Falkirk come back in this final, that could be deemed to be a match-winning tackle. Free kick to Falkirk, barging in the box. Oh, delightful pass again by Paul Wright. But Andy Gray equal to the task. Incredible pace on the recovery. Chance it was though for Jim McIntyre. Screened by Crabb from McAllister. McAllister again, he's offside, McGrillen. Very tight decision. He mistimed the run. And Falkirk waiting to make a change. Gerhard Fellner is stripped off for action.
Interesting one, but you know, Falkirk really have captured the midfield area just now, but he's offside. There's no doubt whatsoever about that. And it's a pity because it was a good opportunity for Falkirk.
McIntyre's head up, there's James. But it is a remarkable change in the pattern of play in the second half, without any obvious major tactical alterations, just an upping of tempo by Falkirk.
His team are much more committed. They're not giving Kilmarnock the room that they gave them in the first half, particularly Paul Wright. We've hardly seen him in this game, and it's because that space has been denied. But the tempo of Falkirk's play has definitely increased.
And Scott Crabb has tested the referee's patience once too often. Another foul, that's the indication. Persistent fouling. So Scott Crabb is yellow carded. Referee Dallas suddenly busy in that regard. And Falkirk are making a substitution at the same time. The match winner of the semi-final replay, Paul McGrillen, is withdrawn. Scott Crabb is booked and Gerhard Fellner has joined the Falkirk attack. So I hope the one-way Jeff goes off. So Paul McGrillen has been replaced by Gerhard Fellner, the Austrian. So he will provide some additional running power to the attack. There's been some reorganisation now. Fellner seems to be joining Crabb through the middle. Hagan has gone to the wide left. Although it may only be for the kick out from Nelson. That's his regular position for that purpose. James put that to Craig Nelson's left foot. That's why he had to be careful playing it with the right foot to the wide position. It's all very untidy at the moment. Kilmarnock have just not settled at all in this second half. Just that glimpse of goal for Jim McIntyre. And Falkirk were caught so far upfield.
You know, he did so well there, Jim McIntyre, because he knew that the pace of Gray was telling. Cut across his path, but really a magnificent challenge by Gray. And really at times his pace is absolutely explosive.
Trap to Hagan. And Seaton. footed clearance that by Lekovic. He'll join the Yugoslavia squad tomorrow for a match against Slovakia in the World Cup qualifier. Pass, strong challenge by James. But we saw some fine play in the first half from Bagan and from Burke and from Paul Wright, and they really have been so quiet since half time. Gray's pass, here's McGowan. Rather obvious with the pass. Kilmarnock still leading in this Tennis Scottish Cup final by 1-0. The scorer was Paul Wright at 21 minutes. And here he is in possession. Interception was made by Gray. Involved again. This is Crabb. Well-timed tackle that by Montgomery. Now this is a better position for the long throw. James waits again. The second ball that's so important here. If James can get a touch on, Falkirk have to have men looking for the second ball. Another good defensive header there by McGowan.
He's coped well. He's really done well with those balls. He's given away a lot of height advantage, but he's attacking the ball well.
And Alec Taunton has insisted Andy Seaton go across to take this corner kick so that he can use his left foot for the inswing, and that was what Paul McGrillen was doing before he was replaced. Far post ball this time, attacked by James. It was a chance. Just about the first time in the match he's been totally in the clear, and it's a poor header.
He really should have done better, because the ball comes right to the back of the goal area there, and he's got plenty of time to see that, and really be disappointed he didn't hit the target there. But it's about the first time that Kevin McGowan's missed one of these cross balls.
Oliver finds McGowan. Crabb. McGowan supporting well. He's getting forward much better in the second half than he managed to do in the first. Falkirk had so much more possession in this period. Callister's cross is a good one. There goes Hagan. He mistimed the jump against Holt. Decent cross that. There's Seaton. Away from Bagan. Got over for the goal kick. Terrific effort by the 19-year-old fullback Andy Seaton. Bobby Williamson must be wondering just what has happened to his team since half-time. So much in control in the opening half hour. We're now at the three-quarter point in the match. Understand that reaction. Might be contemplating a change before much longer. His team has gone flat in this second half. Some movement being offered all around, including Mark Riley there. It's a goal kick.
One little reason for it all happening is that Andy Gray, in actual fact, is not playing behind his true central defender. He's actually playing slightly in front of him, and he's taking the chance that his pace will get him back if there's a need. And he's curbing that space that Paul Wright had, and that plus the aspect of Falkirk up in the game have really disturbed Kilmarnock quite considerably.
A long chase here for Crabb. Well, Scott Crabb has really worked his socks off up front for Falkirk. Question about that. With total commitment, the ball thumped out of play there because attention is required for one of the Kilmarnock players, and that doesn't look too clever. Jim McIntyre, I think, is the player in trouble. clear anxiety there about the damage inflicted on McIntyre. I wonder if he will be able to continue. Alec Todd taking the chance to do some reorganising of his troops also.
It's a real tangle, isn't it? There's not a lot in that.
It's Kevin McGowan, in fact, rather than Jim McIntyre. Kevin McGowan's the player in trouble. Fourth official, Bobby Tate, speaking there to Bobby Williamson. So Kilmarnock continue with 10, and Gary Holt has dropped back to the back four. No doubt he'll be concerned if Kevin James gets forward again before McGowan returns. And Kilmarnock have no defender on the bench. Very positive substitution setup they have. Tom Brown and down below is Ali Mitchell and John Henry. Hugh Allen trying to sort out the problem to allow McGowan to return. They certainly will want him back in the field, and they cannot ignore the possibility of extra time. They lose a goal. Advancing on the right once again is McGowan. McAllister would like the ball played short. McGowan goes long. Well, couldn't drink to the big keeper. He'll take these all day.
He's been much more active in the second half. He's been prepared to get up and support his front players, but the quality of his final pass into the middle has been suspect.
McAllister linking here with McKenzie. It's amazing how Falkirk found so much more space in the second half, especially in the middle of the field. Here they go again. McAllister. Fellner's ahead of him. Higgins to the left. To the right is Crabb. Dug out there by Montgomery. Well, there's the position in the Tennant Scottish Cup final. Come on at 1, Falkirk 0. About 18 minutes, 17 minutes left for play. Falkirk flat out here looking for the equaliser, as they have been since the second half began. Andy Gray's long throw. James goes for the head on. That's saved brilliantly by Rekovic. Held just inside. That's the absence of Kevin McGowan demonstrated.
Once again, these long throws, but Kevin James attacks that ball much more positively. A great save from the goalkeeper, magnificent save from him. But obviously McGowan's been a big influence on that aspect of the game. But good header from Kevin James there, but what a good save.
Just kept from going over the line there by Lekovic. Here come Falkirk again. McAllister against Kerr. Post cross for Hagan. Appeals for handball. Very hopeful indeed. Very hopeful. The turn there towards Fellner. So Kevin McGowan is ready to come back. The referee is satisfied. The blood has been stopped, and McGowan returns to a huge welcome from the Kilmarnock supporters. Well, I suspect that Kilmarnock will want to freshen up. Now they are satisfied McGowan is all right.
Just wonder about the aspect of fitness when it comes to Paul Wright. You know, he's certainly disappeared from the game. You know, but this save again, it really is a tremendous save. Big lad that he is, and he just keeps it from going over the line, doesn't he?
Here's Fellner. Crabb tried the first time pass. Perhaps some fatigue setting in there. Here's McPherson. Buck makes the run inside. That's a brilliant pass. Here's Alec Buck with a chance for Kilmarnock. Excellent goalkeeping. Very intelligent movement from Buck.
Good pass inside the fullback, and Buck does well, holds his ground. But look at the goalkeeper. If you can get him in this shot, he stands up to it, doesn't give him an awful lot of a target to hit. But you know, Burke times his run so well, doesn't he? And his pace is good, collects the ball well, good strike, but good save of the goalkeeper.
Well, Falkirk quickly to the other end again, where they've been for most of the second half. Hagen operating that left touchline now. Was he caught late? No, says the referee. Space here for McIntyre. Paul Wright arriving late, looking for the pass. Hopelessly misjudged. Here's Andy Gray. Now Crabb. Losing the battle with Montgomery. Kilmarnock about to make a change. I wonder if Paul Wright's fitness is perhaps suspect now, and John Henry looks the most likely to come on. He could certainly play in that same role behind McIntyre.
Certainly, and it would definitely hit a system in midfield at the minute, because they've been overrun in midfield in the second half.
This is Fellner. Retrieval work there by Buck. Good challenge there by James. Here's Mackenzie. Now Gray, well forward again. Trying to make every pass count. This is McAllister. Back it comes to Andy Gray. Well, that was ambitious. Played so well in the match, Andy Gray, but that was asking rather a lot. And now there will be that change made by Kilmarnock. Paul Wright, the goal scorer, the scorer of the only goal in the match, is withdrawn to terrific applause of the Kilmarnock supporters. And the replacement, injured out before the match, John Henry, and Falkirk too will make a change. Club captain Albert Craig is coming on, and the hard-working striker Scott Crabb is withdrawn, given everything in the Falkirk cause this afternoon. That'll involve some tinkering tactically.
Well, they obviously look as though they're going to push Kevin James up front, you know, which I suppose at this stage in the game is worth the gamble.
Well, that's how they saved the semi-final first game. An offside flag there, halting that Kilmarnock move. But James went to centre forward in the last 10 minutes against Celtic and headed that magnificent equaliser. Falkirk are hoping for a repeat.
Certainly a threat. Someone that size is obviously always going to be a threat.
Challenging now against McGowan with that head injury. There's clearance. Taken confidently by McGowan. There's a big difference in the second half in the Falkirk confidence. The willingness to take passes in tight positions. That's Clark's tackle. John Henry's first contribution to the play. Kerr played it over the top of McGowan. Nelson quite comfortable on that right foot. So Fellner and James, a striking partnership now for Falkirk. That's a huge change in approach.
Definitely, and McAllister is pushed much wider on the right-hand side. Hagen's going out on that left-hand side. There's a much more positive look about them, and obviously Alec Todd realises he's got to gamble, but his team have been a credit to him in the second half.
The 4-2-4 formation now for Falkirk. Two in the middle now, Mackenzie and Albert Craig. Foul by McGowan. That's a free kick to Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock supporters now regaining their voices. Time running out so rapidly. They sense a victory. About 10 minutes left. 1-0 to Kilmarnock. David Bagan and Alec Buck, the two youngsters, over the free kick. Taken by Bagan. Well won by James. Henry tackled well by Craig, the two substitutes together. Didn't dig that out, Craig. It's collected by McPherson. Hagen still full of running now in that left flank. Four-pronged attack. Hagen on the left, McAllister on the right, James and Fellner through the centre. Gray with the up and under. Headed away was by McGowan. This is McIntyre. Outpaced again by Gray, who just shrugs him aside there. Looked to be a foul, seemed to manhandle him, but the referee allowed that to continue. Here's Fellner charging into Bray Montgomery. Another substitution going to take place. Tom Brown is being prepared for action by Kilmarnock. Jim McIntyre might be the man to come off. He's had to work so hard with very little service, especially in the second half. Indeed, that is the change being made. Alec Totten going berserk there about the time-wasting approach. And Hugh Dallas coming across to Alec Totten. Well, that's what the debate's all about. Alec Totten was furious there about how long it took to get that substitution called. Tom Brown will now replace Jim McIntyre, who's taking all the time in the world to come off. The match winner in the semi-final replay against Dundee United goes off. The B international, Tom Brown, goes on. Well, I wonder if Hugh Dallas has checked that time wasting carefully. Ensures that runs for the goal kick. There'll be some finish this, Billy, I think.
Well, that's right, and this fella's had a really good game, and you just get the feeling there's a lot more to him than he gives you at times. He's got tremendous pace, and every now and then he just gives you indication of that, and you can see that he's played at a real top level.
That ball didn't leave the penalty box, that's why it's been retaken. James is staying on the ground there in a tangle with Gary Holt. The trainers are on here. There'll be another delay. Well, a very late stage in the cup final, which is full of nervous tension in any event, and then a bang like this late on. With stamina very much the premium.
Very much so, and obviously this is an interesting one because, you know, Kevin James's height, you're always going to get a fair bit of head clashes there, and there goes another one.
Well, the crowd there, still in full voice, 48,953 the official attendance, just short of capacity, one or two gaps, can't think where they are, mind you. One or two in the corner there, over behind Craig Nelson. This is Fellner, caught late, going past Montgomery. Still have this feeling all the time, there's more to happen in this final before the end. Falkirk pushing everyone forward. Neil Oliver this time going into the penalty box. Over the far post it goes for James. He gets up well. Clearance came from Kerr. It's a throw this time. A signal for Andy Gray.
No respite, is there, when you give a throw-in away?
So just over 5 minutes left. 1-0 to Kilmarnock. Andy Gray in the best position he's been in all afternoon for a long throw, right at the corner flag. Terrific ball in, there's James. It's there! The equaliser for Falkirk! Neil Oliver! It's chopped off! It won't count! It's being chopped off! The long flat throw from Andy Gray. Kevin James getting up for this. Davis helps it on. It's taken on the volley there by Oliver, and that's been chopped off for an offence inside the 6-yard box.
Well, it's a great touch on. I'm not convinced it's offside when the header's made, but it's very tight. But we've got to give the, what is it you call him, the used to be a linesman, we've got to give him credit for doing that, but looked very tight to me.
Offside was the decision by Sandy Roy down below as the assistant referee. Grade 1 referee on the line. Well, that'll be debated for a very long time. Such a great finish by Oliver too. Would have been his first goal of the season. Here's McGowan, McAllister. Cross it comes to McKenzie. Albert Craig trying to hold it up inside the penalty box. Now on the counter, Tom Brown has bucked to the left. Oh, that's trouble for Andy Gray. No question. Well, I don't think he'll be ready. It wasn't the last defender. It was still half the pitch to go. But Andy Gray is clearly concerned about the referee's view of that. Yellow card it is. And then Alec Todd still having a go at Sandy Roy on the line here. You can understand his frustration. The joy stifled.
Gray knew exactly what he was doing, and it surprises me just a little bit because you don't need to dive in, especially with his pace. You don't need to dive in on the halfway line.
McGowan's header has to retrieve again. Gray helps it on. Riley's quickly to the ball. Riley again. Sharp tackle goes in from Andy Gray, who has been named to no one's surprise the Tennent's man of the match. Another substitution going to be made by Kilmarnock. The referee's not allowing that at the moment. Here's Dylan Kerr. Now Brown. No way past Jamie McGowan. Andy Gray has to get that back though. Strength in the man. He's been fouled there by little David Bacon. Well, that really was a catch-weight contest, no question about that. Perhaps Bacon's telling the referee that. Do you really think had a chance against him?
I think he enjoyed it, mind you.
Bacon will indeed come off. And he's getting a terrific reception also. Being told they're going to move on by Bobby Williamson. He's milking the moment, I think. On goes Ali Mitchell. Well, an experienced man on. Al Mitchell to reach David Bacon. And Falkirk come back. Here's McAllister. Brought down there by Kerr. Kerr's been booked. He's moving dangerously now. Couple of minutes remaining, plus stoppage time. There must be a bit of that. Paul Wright's goal for Kilmarnock separates the teams. McAllister's free kick. James got a touch on that. That's all he got though, causing no problems at all for the Kilmarnock defence that time. Well, the noise you hear building up comes from Kilmarnock supporters, relieved at that effort from James going wide. Mitchell, the fresh man, will take this to the corner flag for a run, I suspect, but Seaton is strong and quick. Time very much the enemy now for Falkirk. Even Alec Todd looks resigned, whereas Bobby Williamson is waiting patiently for the final whistle as John Henry sends the ball across. Now, Hagan on the burst. Now into stoppage time. It requires a long ball launched here, I think, by Craig Nelson. The whistling you hear is from the Kilmarnock supporters. They want to hear that they've won their first trophy since 1929. Great play by Henry. Barged over there by Craig, but there's no offence. This is Oliver. He has to give this to Craig Nelson for the long ball upfield. Fellner losing out to Kerr. That's Buck. Losing his composure there. A bit of cramp setting in, I think, in the youngster's right calf. James now to Fellner. McAllister calls for the ball. Crowded there by two players instantly, Kerr and Buck. McGowan, McAllister. Good pass for McGowan. Could it be the last chance for Falkirk? Here's McAllister again. Changing direction, looking for the opening. Asking too much of Jamie McGowan at this stage in the match. Alec Totten looks resigned there at the back of the dugout. His team have given him everything, especially in this second half. But it hasn't been enough in that vital moment when Neil Oliver scored to have the goal chopped off by the assistant referee on the other side. That will be the moment that he may not forget for a very long time. Thumped forward by Montgomery. Should be collected easily here by Nelson. He has to launch this long downfield from hand. James looking for the knock-on, colliding there with Fellner. Mitchell caught Mackenzie late. The advantage rule is applied sensibly. Here's Kevin James again. It's down for Fellner. Could be the last opportunity for Falkirk. Frustration for the Austrian. Bobby Williamson waiting to savour his first triumph as a manager. All eyes of the Kilmarnock supporters on referee Hugh Dallas, waiting for the moment when they will know the trophy is theirs. It's all ragged stuff now from Falkirk. It's all hit and hope in these closing few minutes, with fatigue setting in rapidly. Hugh Dallas being studied all around the stadium. It's into Neil Oliver in the middle. There was a long amount of stoppage time to add on, but I wonder how much more there will be. No more! Kilmarnock have won the 10th Scottish Cup. Bobby Williamson is drenched. The handshake with Alec Totten and Walter Kidd. But the moment belongs to Kilmarnock. They looked so dangerously in that second half, hanging on grimly as Falkirk piled everything on them. And that's Alec Totten with Paul Wright. Paul Wright expressing his appreciation. The manager did so much for him. The flags are waved in the blue and white of Kilmarnock around the stadium, but in fairness, Falkirk too standing to a man. But the Kilmarnock manager, Bobby Williamson, is with Hazel Irvine.
Bobby, what a start to your managing. A bit wet there as well.
That's great. I suppose they came through the day. It's been a fantastic day. Quite a bit of game. Second half, Falkirk to their credit, put us under a lot of pressure. And with a credit to the division around, they should be out of it. Hopefully next year Falkirk will get promotion, because they've got a lot of good players out there.
When Paul Wright put you ahead, how comfortable for the rest of the game was it for you?
Not very. We knew we needed another goal, and we just couldn't manage it, Hazel. So that's the way it goes, but one was enough.
And what was your reaction when Neil Oliver's goal was chalked offside?
Was it Neil Oliver that scored it? I didn't know. It was just I seen the linesman's flag going up right away, so I knew there was no panic, but it looks as if it was going to come.
Bobby, what a start to your managerial career. Can you believe it?
Not really. It's happened, so I've just got to believe it, Hazel.
What about next season? Clearly there's going to be an awful lot of season tickets sold, I would think, down your neck of the wood.
I hope so. I'll need to get a clear out start again, I think.
Party tonight, I would imagine.
I hope so.
Bobby, thank you very much. Well done.
A very happy Kilmarnock manager who really has handled himself amazingly well in his short span as manager of Kilmarnock for 6 months only, but showing great tactical awareness. And it really has been a terrific triumph for Kilmarnock. And the man of the match, Andy Gray.
Andy Gray, some consolation for you. Congratulations, you're the man of the match. Callum Mackay will present you with that award. But Andy, can you describe to me your disappointment today?
Well, I don't think we really got going today. It was like a game of two halves, really. I mean, they scored from a set piece, but I don't think they really caused us any problems, you know. But good luck to them and all the best for them in Europe.
In terms of the second half performance, you looked as if you came out really ready to try and come back into the game. It just wasn't to be.
Yeah, it's one of them days. I mean, as I've always said on this cup run, if your name's on the cup, you're going to win it. And I just think that the first half we had about 3 or 4 players like in the side who wasn't like up to scratch. You know, it wasn't like a team performance in the first half. And I think second half we showed a bit more determination. And I think we can walk off the pitch with held eye.
Particularly disappointed when the goal was chalked offside near the end.
Well, I couldn't see why that was chalked off, because I mean, at the end of the day I think they had somebody behind Agee. So to me, I don't understand why they did sort of like chalk it off.
Disappointment for you, but congratulations on your cup run. It's been marvellous to follow you to the final. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you, Hazel. Thank you.
So disappointed Falkirk supporters, but they've been standing there waving their flags. They know they had a team there which gave them absolutely everything, especially in that second half. Did them proud indeed in their effort to win this cup in the most dramatic possible fashion. And for Kevin McAllister, you can tell the agony all over his face. The Falkirk supporter all his life with a chance here to win a major trophy. Disappointment for Kevin James, but for him there may well be another chance. Young player with a big future. And he brought off that great save from Lekovic in the second half. Alec Totten, the usual dignity, masking the disappointment. Neil Oliver in the discussion about why the goal was chalked off, and that will no doubt be a mystery to a lot of the players still at this point, that it was for offside. Bobby Williamson reappears and makes, I think, for Alec Totten, I suspect that might be his first port of call. Well, going round the Falkirk players, showing his regard for them and for their contribution to the whole affair. But it was 1929 when Kilmarnock last won the cup, beating Rangers by 2-0. They've had final disappointment since then, and 40 years ago to Falkirk, and then 3 years later losing 2-0 to Rangers. Now another triumph. Bobby Williamson going round all the players in the Falkirk squad. Well, the face painters were busy before this match. And the Kilmarnock players have done their swallow dives in front of the supporters at every corner of the pitch. Well, a feature of the final, the friendly final, has been the ladies, the children, the old men, the young men, the boys, the girls. The day they won't forget readily, especially if you come from Kilmarnock. Bobby Williamson goes round every player in his squad. Moments to be savoured, Billy.
Very much so, and you know, I think Kilmarnock's the place to be tonight, but there'll be one or two sore heads that looks for things tomorrow morning. And over the piece, I just had the feeling they had that little bit more than Falkirk had. When they had the grip of the midfield in the first half, they prized open a few more openings than Falkirk were able to achieve in the second half, and I just felt that Falkirk gave everything in the second half. They had a lot of the game. I just don't think they had the guile to open up Kilmarnock as much as they'd wanted to be. But you know, I'm still not convinced about the goal that was chalked off, because if it was offside, it was very, very tight.
But the record books will show Kilmarnock 1, Falkirk 0. The offside chalked off goal will not be remembered for long at all, except in Falkirk, and I'm sure they'll be agonising about that, analysing video replays all evening to see if justice was in fact done, because had Falkirk scored at that point, there's no doubt indeed they were worthy of a goal and the pressure they built up.
Well, you could easily make a case out for a draw in this game, but there's a winner, and you know, I just felt that Kilmarnock showed that little bit more class at times and made it pay. A good goal by Paul Wright, and you know, that's the way cup finals are won or lost at times.
The manager with a man of the match, but he's on the losing side, and the platform party re-emerges. There's no Jim Farry this time, but still there's the same reception from the supporters. Certainly unfair for those who are appearing here. So the presentations will now take place. The carpets have been restored. And it's Falkirk who come forward first to collect their runners-up medals. The president of the SFA, Jack McGinn, is there to greet Jamie McGowan, who has to look longingly at the cup and walk on by. Sam Galbraith there, Scottish Office Minister, Gordon Brown, and the sponsors' tenants. Dejected faces. Great getting to a cup final, but misery losing. Not a smile in sight. We'll see the contrast in a moment, though. But there's the show of faith and belief of the Falkirk supporters. No one has left the stadium. Next to receive their medals, the match officials, led by Hugh Dallas, who's been round the good, of course, by the Falkirk supporters. That's all about the chopped-off goal. Sandy Roy, the man whose flag stopped the celebrations. John McElhinney, and the fourth official, Bobby Tate. And now the moment the town of Kilmarnock has been waiting for. Just listen to the crescendo of noise as Ray Montgomery goes forward. The old war horse, 36 years old. A moment I'm sure he thought he would never say that. Draghi Lekovic joining in the spirit of the occasion. Kevin McGowan has lost the bandages from his eye cut. Gus McPherson, another long-serving member here of the Kilmarnock side. A new arrival, Dylan Kerr, Sheffield Wednesday, Leeds United, Reading, and now a Scottish Cup winner. Little David Bagan. His 22nd first-team start this afternoon. Followed there by Gary Holt. Tom Brown, the substitute. The match winner, Paul Wright. Special cheer for the man who scored the vital goal in 21 minutes. The attacking partner, Jim McIntyre, has scored the vital winner in the semi-final replay against Dundee United. Another long-serving man at Rugby Park, Gary Mitchell, who came on as sub late on. Little Mark Riley, who when he was freed by Motherwell in 1991, could not have anticipated playing in a Tennent Scottish Cup final. And John Henry. Substitute also. And little Alec Buck. His 15th first-team start for Kilmarnock. Proudly holding the trophy and his winner's medal. So the photography session about to begin. Bobby Williamson still acknowledging the Kilmarnock backing and insisting that all the players who were not stripped this afternoon join the picture. That's a very good gesture by the manager. So the photographers lining up the picture here, which Lekovic is currently spoiling by standing in front of everyone. Well, that camera can't be still because of the crowd in the stand jumping up and down. Well, a day they'll never forget, these youngsters particularly. Well, let's hope it's not another 40 years before they're in a cup final like this. Well, it's 37 years since the last final, the Scottish Cup. So Ray Montgomery wants to go in the lap of honour, I think. Mindful of the SFA regulations on the subject, no doubt. So Ray Montgomery stripping off the match strip. They clearly have T-shirts made for the purpose. I'm sure they wouldn't have been too happy to have these seen before the match. Sponsors there again for the T-shirts, getting some publicity. Lekovic there with the youngsters. Yugoslavian born, I suspect, and also Scottish brought up. Andy Gray looking very pensive. May have played his last match for Falkirk. An outstanding performance. He leaves the field here as Kilmarnock set off now on the lap of honour. Getting some sporting applause from the Falkirk supporters also, Kilmarnock. Well, appropriate music for the backing, for the scenes of celebration, which will no doubt be preceding a huge party and carnival in Kilmarnock tonight. Well, let's hope they're all back, packing Rugby Park next season. Well, they want to save at the moment. Billy, you've been there many times. What's going through their minds?
Well, I think it's brilliant for a team like Kilmarnock. There's a lot of lads here that have been good professionals, Jock, and they've had good careers, but they've never had this type of thing happen to them before, and it's lovely to see. And if I pick one man out, it's Ray Montgomery, who's been a tremendous servant to them, smashing guy. He's here, he'll enjoy, he'll never forget this, and coming at the end of his career, and he'll maybe be annoyed with me for saying that, but it has changed his career. It's really brilliant for him. I'm absolutely delighted.
He joined the club from Dumbarton in 1988 and could scarcely believe he could savour a moment like this. And the Kilmarnock supporters still behind the goal to the left. The Grimlow and Rodstand, and getting a close-up view of the Scottish Cup. No one has moved from that stand there, which the players have gone to now. So the celebrations will go on for a very long time. Ray Montgomery with his lover.
Ray, I saw you shed a wee tear before you went up for that trophy today. What were you thinking at that
Yes,
stage?
a very, very emotional time for me. I've been here many years now, and I just wanted it so much for all these fans and everybody connected with Kilmarnock Football Club.
Describe the feeling when you picked the trophy up.
I think I have to experience it to describe it. It's just unbelievable feeling.
Tell me about the atmosphere here. What does it mean to these fans?
Oh, it means everything. You can see it's just electric. It just means everything to everybody at Kilmarnock. I'm just delighted for everybody.
What did you think of the game today? Because Falkirk put you under pressure in the second half.
Yeah, Falkirk put us under a bit of pressure in the second half, as you say. But I think overall in the game, maybe 1-0 was a fair result for us. But just like to say, I'm sorry for the Falkirk lads. Just sorry it couldn't be 2 winners today.
Well, it's been played in a magnificently sporting manner today. Congratulations to you.
Thanks very much, Susan. Thank you.
Bobby Williamson with the cup. A terrific response from the Kilmarnock supporters. What a performance in his short managerial career. There's Ragilly Lekovic with the Scottish Cup there. And his family. And with his living now is the match winner, Paul Wright.
Paul, it was touch and go if you'd play at all today, but that must rate as one of your most special goals ever.
Oh, it's incredible. You know, I never thought I would score a goal myself today and it would win it, but
the backing of these fans and something special today.
Tell me your memory of the goal itself. How did it come to you?
I just remember somebody flicked it on and a couple of us went for it now. I managed to slap it at the back post and these things always seem to go in, but I was a bit fortunate.
Is this the highlight of your career, Paul?
Oh, I don't think there'll be any bigger nights than this tonight. I've played for 14 years and never got a sniffer in to go to this. This is something special to me.
Do you know the words to Paper Roses?
I don't even know it.
You better learn it quickly.
I better for tonight. Thanks a lot, Hazel. Thanks a lot.
So the Kilmarnock song, Paper Roses. Well, what terrific signs here of joy in these Kilmarnock supporters' faces. Well, the Friendly Cup final, the People's Cup final. Had to have a winner, it had to have a loser. The winners are Kilmarnock and Falkirk. Mustn't be forgotten of their contribution to a highly competitive Tenant Scottish Cup final. But for the moment, it's Kilmarnock who enjoy the occasion now to the full. They worked so hard to take a grip of the game early on. Got in front and held on grimly to the end under ferocious pressure. So with Hazel Urban now is Kevin McGowan.
Kevin, you went through the pain barrier for this today. Was it worth it?
When you see scenes like this, it's definitely worth it. This is brilliant. It's more than I even expected. It's just brilliant.
What kind of night do you think you're in for tonight?
Tomorrow morning, I'll probably not even remember it, so it's got to be brilliant. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's been one of the happiest cup finals. What did you think of the ovation that you received from the Falkirk fans as well?
That was a nice touch. To go around and even clap the away fans is brilliant. I mean, really enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Well, get that eye stitched and have a good night tonight.
Pardon?
Get your eye stitched.
Yes, we'll get it done. Cheers.
Well, sheer bedlam still at Ibrox. Kilmarnock celebrating winning the Scottish Cup in dramatic fashion. Paul Wright did the damage in 21 minutes. Falkirk couldn't find a way back. And the result of that is that Kilmarnock will play in Europe next season.
Very much indeed to Jock and to Billy McNeill, a day these Kilmarnock supporters will remember for the rest of their lives. And I think the Kilmarnock board and certainly Bobby Williams would love to see a good many of them turning up on a regular basis at Rugby Park next season. Terrific support for both clubs. And I think, Ali, what's one of the heartwarming things about this one is the ovation that the Kilmarnock players and indeed supporters got from the Falkirk fans.
Dougie, it was wonderful. For me, actually, the highlight of the whole game came a second after the final whistle went, when Dylan Kerr and Kevin McAllister ran 30 yards and threw their arms around each other. And 10 minutes earlier, I think Kerr had been booked for a foul on McAllister. And McAllister was screaming for him to get booked. That just summed up the whole day. Magnificent day. I mean, the Falkirk supporters and the Kilmarnock supporters have been a credit to their towns and they've been applauding each other since the final whistle, and it's been a great day.
The friendly final indeed. Eamon, you have to feel for Falkirk because of the first half belonged to Kilmarnock, the second half belonged to Falkirk, without a doubt.
I think that's right, Dougie. I mean, I'm not at all sure that Kilmarnock deserved to win it over the 90 minutes on balance, but they have, so let's congratulate them for that. I think Kilmarnock are more used to holding on to, 1-0, 2-0 leads, and they certainly did that. I mean, if you're a Kilmarnock supporter, I think you would have started to really worry because they rested on their laurels far too much, allowed Falkirk to come at them in droves really, and it ended up holding on and of course getting the break with the controversial offside goal.
It was controversial, we'll see that a little bit later, but we really don't want to leave these scenes, marvellous, colourful scenes of celebration. Those Kilmarnock fans, well, I doubt if there are more than a handful in the stadium who maybe remember 1929. It really is a marvellous picture of celebration with the players as well. I'm not sure about the t-shirts, by the way. I haven't seen that before. There's obviously a financial inducement involved there, but I think perhaps when they look back on it, I'd rather have seen the team parading in the team strip rather than in t-shirts, but there'll perhaps be more to be said about that. But Kilmarnock's the place to be tonight. There might be a few choruses of Paper Roses around the town, Ali.
Well, I think t-shirts or not, I just want to know the timetables of the buses down to Kilmarnock this evening. I think that's the place to be. I think Eamon touched on it. There's a little bit controversial, the second half goal, which Falkirk got disallowed. It looked onside to me. Having said that, it was a transformation in the second half. I like Tottenham's men with a credit to them. They were fantastic, played very well. At the same time, I'm just thrilled to bits for wee Bobby, Gus McPherson, Ray Montgomery, and of course the goal scorer Paul Wright. I'm thrilled to bits for him.
Well, who would have believed it? Bobby Williamson just 6 months ago was the reserve team coach. Alec Totten was the Kilmarnock manager. When Alec Totten left the club, Bobby Williamson must have wondered what his future held. The two such close friends, and Bobby suddenly gets the chance to be manager, and for a while it looked as if the club might be looking for a bigger name than Bobby Williamson, but he was the fans' choice and he's delivered them the Tennent's Scottish Cup. Remarkable story. Let's just see again the goal which this man scored after 21 minutes, which has decided the 1997 Scottish Cup final. Paul Wright scoring for Kilmarnock. Talk us through it again, Eamon.
Well, it's a good corner kick, and well, we know now it was a Falkirk player that headed it on, and Paul Wright just came off the back post and finished it, you know, very nicely indeed.
It's a great striker's goal to give, because he doesn't even hit it cleanly. He's coming back on him, he just wants to keep the ball down and try and hit the target, and he does that. That's his main aim, and of course the ball ends up in the back of the net, and the rest is history.
It has to be said, at that stage we didn't really, I don't think, imagine that this would be the only goal of the final. At that stage it looks as if we might get one or two more, didn't we?
Yeah, we felt that way. We felt it was going to be an open game, there were one or two goals, but this was it turned out to be the goal that won the cup. Here you see it, he just keeps it down, and actually Craig Nelson gets across the goal there, but it's unfortunately for him, it's by him. Difficult ball to take here. Yeah, he hammers it into the ground.
You set up to defend corner kicks, and you decide whether you're going to have men in both posts, men in one post, the back post, and it's times like that you wish you had set someone in the back post because he would have just kicked it clear. One of those things that happen in football, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Well, as you can see, the party is still going on. We've had We Are the Champions, we've had Paper Roses several times, and the Falkirk fans certainly are leaving Ibrox, but the Kilmarnock fans, I think, will be some time yet before they leave the scene of this, the greatest day in the club's history since 1929. But there was controversy near the end of a half which Falkirk had totally dominated, and this was the goal which was chopped off for offside, and which I think we might just find, Eamon, could well have been given.
Yeah, well, instinctively, you know, seeing it, you know, live as it were, I didn't think there was any question of offside, and really until you see the benefit of the television replay, even then it's a dodgy one.
Watch it on this
over
angle,
there.
and I think he's level myself, but I tell you what a finish it is. I mean, the ball's coming behind him, and it's a great finish from Neil Oliver, volleys it right into the net.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit unlucky to called offside there.
For a central defender it was a good finish, but when you see it from that angle, I mean, I must admit, it didn't look as if he was, you know, in front of the last defender to me.
Yeah, I mean, slightly, but I mean, I think in the situations like that, I mean, I've been in a cup final before. It was 10 years ago in St Mirren, where Dundee United got beat 1-0. We got involved in a controversial decision like that, where Kevin Gallagher was in the net and the ball was scored and he was deemed to be in an offside position. St Mirren went right up the park and scored to make it 1-0, and it's the most depressing feeling you can imagine. You think you've done it, you think you've equalised, you think you've scored, and suddenly you've got the legs whipped from under you. I mean, the Falkirk players, you could visibly see them being gutted by that. And the opposite happens to the Kilmarnock players. They get a lift from it because they've been let off.
Yeah.
I think on balance, the goal could have been given in actual fact.
I think it's a little bit of shame, actually. There's been a controversial, you know, incident like that in the game.
Exactly. You always want a clear-cut win either way, don't you?
Having said that, it's going to provide another talking point, isn't it?
Of course it does. Andy Gray, man of the match. I think in here we'd probably agree with that. Although Eamon, quite rightly, you pointed out Ray Montgomery was outstanding for Killie, but Andy Gray was outstanding.
Gray for me was magnificent. He was. I mean, this is a fantastic through ball here. Wonderful skill from right. He plucks the ball out of the sky with his knee. Great skill. Sends McIntyre away. Now what a tackle this is with his left leg. I'm not a tackler by any manner of means, but if I was going to attempt to tackle him, I'd have went with my right leg and come across him. But what a tackle! And he must have 10 yards to catch up McIntyre there. And he showed great pace. No doubt about it, great man in the match.
And yet we should be banning the tackle from behind to say, but that was a perfect example of how the tackle from behind can be legal.
It was a perfectly timed tackle. He didn't take the player at all. And really, McIntyre could have really sealed the game, if you like, at that point. And you thought he did the right thing because he went across the defender, but Andy Gray got back magnificently and a great saving tackle, and that really kept Falkirk in it at that stage.
Yeah. What went wrong for Kilmarnock in the second half, Ali? Or was it just a case that Falkirk came into it strongly and didn't allow Kilmarnock to dominate?
I think maybe a couple of factors. I think maybe some of the Killie young lads tired a little bit, and maybe Paul Wright with his injury tired a little bit. But to be fair to Falkirk, they shut down the danger in the first half, which was coming from the wings, and they came into the game their own, provided a danger with obviously a long throw in from Gray, had one or two chances, and had the controversial goal. But I think we've got to give Falkirk credit for their second half performance, as we did do Kilmarnock in the first half, where they'd shaded it.
Good. Okay, well, we'll leave it for there for the moment, gentlemen, because we still have a little time to fill, of course, but we can look around the stadium, which is now emptying at last. Those celebrating Kilmarnock fans heading back for their buses, back to Ayrshire, where the party, I'm sure, will go on long into the night. Kilmarnock, the Tennent Scottish Cup winners for 1990.